Hey everyone, Kevin Fleming here, and just want to take a few moments to share a little bit of a more personal story to why I do what I do. And it's a good question. I get asked that a lot, and I guess I pull out a great book title to answer that question. A book by James Hillman that was entitled, "We've had 100 years of psychotherapy and the world's getting worse." It's a good title. And please don't take it the wrong way. I have many psychologist friends and counselor friends and therapist friends who are doing amazing work in the field, and certainly that was my training. Went to Notre Dame, undergrad and graduate, and learned a lot of good skills in the therapy world. But like the title says, the world seems to be needing something greater than just psychotherapy, and I guess I felt called to kind of fill that void a little bit. And when I was practicing, I felt personally a little bit incomplete. There were a few issues that helped me kind of drive away from that field and create my own proprietary processes and models around behavior change. You see, day after day, I would have dialogues with people around change and hopes, dreams, pain, and we'd have many informative dialogues. And they were honestly days that I wasn't completely the best self I could be, yet I was always called brilliant, or this hour was always the best thing they've ever had. And I found it was very interesting that words were not only helpful in healing, but also had a lot of illusions as well. And that if we didn't do something beyond just have dialogues with people, we'd all be stuck in changing the world, right? So I guess I felt pretty noble in some way to kind of get out there and do some bigger, larger work with people. The other issue, I think, of why I left and created my own practice of different types of thinking was the brain. After studying neuroscience for years, I realized the psychotherapy process, as I looked at it, didn't really align to this whole underworld of the brain, that there were these bubbles above people's heads that were very different than what we said in therapy, that really held most of the truth, that were driven a lot by neural laws and neuroscience laws of how we just reduce dissonance and pain just to make ourselves feel good and or do some rationalizations and such. And that was, that was disturbing to me, because I think the brain was working against us all the time in there. So I'd like to study that and to try to find the truth there in the brain. And lastly, I think, why I left was an Einstein quote that means the world to me, which is this quote when he said, "No problem is ever solved on the same level of thinking the problem got created on." And to me, I think that's a real radical call for paradigmatic change of thinking. People that are really willing to turn over assumptions and do things wildly, wildly different than we've done. And that's why I do what I do, because it's meaningful and awesome work.